Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Lawson, founder of the Bariatric Success Academy. And today I'm joined with Erika, who has who's really experienced an incredible transformation through the program. And she's only halfway through. So we're going to dive into her journey from the struggle she faced before joining us to where she is today at her halfway point of the program. So I also watched today, Erika, before this call, like earlier this morning, our very first call. Like when you first came to me at the end of February, in preparation for today. And I'm truly amazed at just how far you've really come in 2 months and the difference in just how you talk about yourself, your relationship with food, and your overall confidence is truly remarkable. So in this interview, you're going to hear about Erica's experience with Regan after bariatric surgery, how she's rebuilt her relationship with food, and the mindset shifts, which I think are the most important, but the mindset shifts that are really going to create lasting change in just 8 weeks. So first off, Erica, thanks so much for sharing your story with us today. I know it's going to be really inspirational for others who might be facing similar challenges. So would love to start by talking about where you were when we first got connected. So could you paint a picture of maybe where you were physically or emotionally when you first reached out for help back in February?
Yeah. I was at my wit's end in a sense. I never had the aha moment that, oh my gosh, I didn't look at a picture and say I need to lose weight. I've always felt that I've needed to lose weight. Um, and when we first spoke in February, it was after months and probably about a year of me trying off and on different things because I had 20 pounds I wanted to lose. And I finally, convinced myself to reach out to you after seeing you on Instagram and just felt like I had had enough. And I was tired of not feeling comfortable in my own body. Um, and I needed someone to push me that would be there for me, that would hold me accountable, but also help me along with the process because, you know what to do because you've been doing this all your life, but I needed someone to kind of give me step by step and hold my hand and um, get me out of the rut and the negative talk that I had.
Yeah. And what was your relationship with food like at that point?
I ate because I had to. I for many years, I don't feel hungry necessarily. So I know I have to eat. So I just grab whatever. And it was never, there was never any planning or any forethought or anything but whatever's here, I'll just eat. And if it was lunchtime and I needed to eat something and it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I was lazy and, then that's what it was. It was just boring.
Yeah. And what made you decide to reach out to me?
Um, I had watched a lot of your videos on Instagram, um, over and over again. You kept popping up on my feed, and I just felt like there was something, um, particularly because I could have gone to any nutritionist or coach or whatever, and I had in the past worked with other people, but no one specifically bariatric, and no one that had been in my shoes, lived what I've lived in the sense of having the surgery, having life come upon you, and then kind of take over. And then you lose control of things. Um, and I had my surgery back in 2008. So I've had a roller coaster since then. Um, and when I lost, I lost. I mean, my initial loss was great. And people were saying, you're too skinny, and of course you never think that for yourself. But I needed to feel better. And you were there. You just kind of, there was a reason why you kept coming on my feed. So I
Yeah.
figured, I'll reach out and see what happens. I mean, I could have reached out and we may not have hit it off, or I may not have liked what you had said, or you may not have felt that you could help me, or, and then at least I could have said I tried.
Yeah.
Um, but, but it worked out for the positive
Yeah.
in many ways.
I actually get that a lot where, I remember on our call when I watched our call, I remember you said,
Mhm.
like, you were lurking. Like, I get that relatively often where, people will watch for a while before reaching out. Sometimes because people are scared to ask for help because similar to you, they've been trying to lose weight for their whole life, and they feel a lot of people that regain weight feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Even though it is the most common experience after bariatric surgery. And I guess, like, were you scared at all to ask for help, or was that ever a thought that crossed your mind?
I wasn't scared to ask for help. I guess there was a part of me that was scared to put in the work
Mm.
or to attempt to put in the work because in the past I had self-sabotaged myself a lot. Um, one cookie and the negative talk just went for hours.
Yeah.
Um, and, so I was afraid to put myself back in that position. Um, but I felt like there was I don't want to say divine intervention, but I feel like there was a reason why you popped up and kept coming back and I kept seeing it. And, it made me feel comfortable to reach out.
Okay. Gotcha. And then you had your surgery in 2008, lost a
Mhm.
lot of weight. How much weight initially did you lose? And then when did the regain start? And how much weight did you regain?
So the initial loss was about 110 pounds,
Okay.
in about, um, 9 months.
Okay.
And then, 2 years later, I had skin removal and lost another about 10 or 15 pounds. Um, and then right after the skin removal, I, separated from my husband. And that kind of was the beginning of the out of control. Um, then a couple years later, I started dating someone and we would go out to eat and he would spoil me. And that was my first relationship after being married for 20 years. And, um, looking back at the pictures now, I don't remember gaining the weight during that time, but looking at the pictures, I gained a lot of weight and I probably gained at least 60 pounds during that 3-year relationship with that man. Um, I'm no longer with him. It's over. It's been over for a very, very, very long time. But, um, so it was so then I lost the weight and then I started creeping back. It was just back and forth for years. Um, and I guess about 2 years ago, it started. I've never been back to that lowest weight. Um, but I've been comfortable and I've been happy with how I feel. Um, and in 2021, I remember being at a really, really comfortable place. Um, and then maybe about a year later, around 22, I started slowly, it started creeping back up for some reason. And it was just life was, I was in between jobs and moving and, all kinds of stuff just happened. And the eating got out of control because it was easier not to focus on it
Mm.
at that time, because I had so many other things in my head going on.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you've basically been dealing with the regain on and off the last what?
15 years?
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so Um, but you mentioned the last year in particular before joining this program that you had been more so like closely working on it. And I know when we first talked, you had mentioned you had joined another program. So can you tell me like about maybe what you like that program and maybe anything that you were a little bit worried about going into this program? Because
Mm.
I think a lot of people have tried lots of different things and, you know, especially if you're regaining weight, you've probably tried everything. And so I'm curious in regards of how, with your experience with other programs and, doing lots of different things, like how did you think about deciding to join this program in particular?
Well, the program that I had joined last summer was a one-on-one, but it didn't give me the hand holding that I, after the fact, realized that I probably needed a little more hand holding than what I was getting from that program. Um, and I was still self-sabotaging. So I would, I kept a food journal for this program online. I think there was an app, and I lied. I mean, bottom line, I lied. The only thing I didn't lie about was my steps, because I would take a picture of my watch every night. But I didn't work on my steps. I just took a picture of my watch every night and sent it to them. And it wasn't there was no guidance. There was no, oh, well, let's try for 10 more steps tomorrow or whatever. Um, and when you and I spoke, so then that kind of faltered and I wasted time and money and whatever. But when I got to the point where I reached out to you, I was serious that I needed to do something and I wasn't sure what it was. Um, so when you and I spoke and you told me about the program and everything, the hand holding was there. And I felt that that was going to be a little more of what I needed. Um, and it has been. I mean, there have been lots of times that I've, mentioned one little thing to you that I'm concerned about or whatever. I- and you come back with a solution or a suggestion or something. And that's what I need. And I needed the blueprint that had it all mapped out. And I mean, there's just a lot of techniques that you offer and have readily available that I've never had before, and it's what I needed.
Yeah. I like to think of myself as a problem solver,
Yeah, for sure.
people's personal problem solver. Because I think folks have plenty of people that are going to cheer you on. And yeah, I do that too. Right. Um, but at the end of the day, folks need help. And that's the hat that I like to wear most. And so let's talk about when you initially joined the program. So, what was your initial impression of like, you joined the program? What were your initial thoughts when we first started working together? Because I know it can be really overwhelming at first.
Well,
Like,
that's the
great.
word that comes to mind. I mean, it was there, no question, it was overwhelming. And I remember you and I having a conversation. I don't remember, it may have been a week or two into the when I started, but I felt like I had the food noise because I was always trying to figure out what I was going to eat next to fit into the program. It wasn't food noise like, "Oh my god, I'm hungry. Oh my god, I want to eat. I want to nosh. I want to snack." It wasn't that. It was more that I was the word obsessed comes to mind, but I don't know if that's right. But I was obsessed with making the program work and following everything and putting it all together it was a lot of work in the beginning on my end. Obviously on your end because you gave me the work to do. So, but it was good work. And it, for whatever reason, it clicked and I have stuck to it. And there's, there's not that overwhelming feeling anymore, obviously at this point, but it was very overwhelming and it was a lot of material and a lot of rereading and rewatching the modules and reading my notes and everything. And, but I think that's with any program, it can be overwhelming. So, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. And my style as well is I'd rather give you all the information up front so that you know exactly what we're doing and exactly where we're going so that you have clarity and certainty. Cause I naturally attract type A busy women because that's who I like to work with. And I've also found that those are the women that tend to struggle with regain and food noise and stress eating and emotional eating the most. And a lot of it has to do with decision fatigue because you're at work all day, making decisions all day long, and then willpower decreases throughout the day. So then when evening comes around,
Yep.
kitchen lights go on, ice cream comes out, etc. And so, you know, I guess tell me more about how the first week was. Like, what were the key differences between, your old life and your new life?
Um, the biggest difference was that with your blueprint and the recipes and the app, all of that helped me map out and plan out my meals much easier. It was like, it was all that information was handed to me. And all I needed to do was kind of like put the puzzle together in the sense of breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, um, which is what I needed because, and I love to cook. I was a personal chef in my previous life. Like I know how to put together a menu and a plan and all of that for other people, not for myself. And when it comes to myself, I didn't know how to fit things in the right places. Your recipes give all the macros that we need to figure out, like I said, where to fit things in into the puzzle of the day. And I bought a special notebook and I would write everything down and it was very strategic. Um, and planned out and all of that work that I put into planning for my week, I think made me work harder because I just did a lot of this work and, I just spent whatever time, an hour, say, which you don't always have an hour, but, throughout time you piecemeal together. And I just spent all this time doing all of this and I'm going to give it a try because you fed everything to me and I was able to put it all together. Does that
Awesome.
make sense?
Yep. Totally
Okay.
makes sense. It's like you put in the effort. Why would you waste it?
Right. Right. Yep.
So, what resources or tools from the program have you found most valuable so far?
Definitely the recipes. And I tweaked them along the way. They give a basis for, some good ideas. Some I haven't tweaked, some I've done straightforward. Um, and the modules have been helpful. Um, Not in the sense that I'm learning something new necessarily, but I'm hearing it in a different way.
Mm,
And it's maybe hitting or striking me in a different way to keep things on target.
yeah, totally. And how has the accountability aspect of the program influenced like your consistency and commitment?
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, thank
I
you.
mean,
Like,
the I'm so worried. Not, I
mm,
take that back. I'm not worried, but in my head, I think when this is done, I'm not going to have trainer eyes anymore. And I'm so dependent on that app
mm,
that I've got to figure out another way. I know there's other ones out there, but I'm not going to have anybody else looking at it or paying attention to it or critiquing, whatever. But I can message you or I can, put a post on or something. And I know that specifically if it's a question, it's going to get answered. Um, you're going to give me suggestions. You're going to give me ideas and things that I would not have come up with necessarily. I think early on I was in a panic about something. I don't remember what. And I messaged you and you took me off the ledge, whatever it was. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, the accountability it's been great because I need it. I unfortunately don't have it at home. So there's
Yeah.
that. But you rock.
Well, thank you.
I'm serious.
Oh, thanks. Were there any parts of the program that surprised you or maybe worked differently than you expected?
Yes. Um, I have never been one for exercise.
Mhm.
And um, in the other programs and one of the last program I worked, I was adamant that I don't care about exercise. I want to just get my food, my mindset right for the food and the eating. Um, and I'm always told, but they work hand in hand. And am not exercise, so I don't want to hear it. But for some reason, you got me walking, and um, and I have increased my steps, and I'm only walking, and a lot of it is only in the office or at home, but it's intentional. It's planned. A lot of it is planned. Um, and I am now addicted to looking at my count on my watch to see how many steps I've done. And if it's not enough, like at 11 o'clock this morning, I hadn't hit 2,000 yet, and I was in the office. And I'm like, wait a second. When I'm in the office, I'm like really good. So I have been doing my laps in the office, and I can do that because I stop and talk to, people that I need to talk to instead of sending an email or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so it's the exercise portion of it for
Gotcha.
sure.
And was there a specific aha moment during our work together when things really started to click for you?
Um, it might have been, well, I can think of two actually. So I started um working back in the office the beginning of April. I had been full remote, um, and back in the office, new office space. So there was a lot of welcoming things, and a lot of it was food. And there was always, and still today, there was a huge spread. There's always stuff free for the taking. And I don't have any temptations. I don't. I'll walk into the kitchen to get something and I see it all there. It doesn't phase me. It doesn't, I don't think twice about it. Whereas before I'd be, oh, I'll take a cookie. It's not going to kill me. Or I'll take a half a bagel. It's not going to, I don't take that anymore. I pack my lunch. I have my lunch. My week is written out. I already know what I'm eating every meal this week. I'm not going to ruin it with a cookie or a half a bagel or something that isn't, on my plan. The other is that I've had consistently have lost weight every week. And I think it was the second or third week when I had continued to lose weight. And I was like, wow, like this is happening. You know? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, those are the two big things for
Awesome.
sure. Yeah.
And during one of our recent coaching calls, you mentioned to your therapist that you're a different person now. Tell me
Yeah.
more about that.
Yeah. When you and I first met, it was all about the mindset. My mind was so negative and so sabotaging, as I use that word a lot. I didn't have the to do something about what I needed to do, and I knew I needed to make a change. Um, but there was always an excuse, or there was always that negative person, negative part of my head saying, one more meal isn't going to kill you, or one more cookie isn't going to kill you, or, let's get dessert, or let's get the appetizer, or whatever. And it was always, and then I would eat that and do that. And then I'd be kicking myself, figuratively. And why did I do that? I need to lose this weight. Why? And then of course I'd get dressed to go somewhere, and I'd be, throwing clothes out of the closet because I couldn't find something that was comfortable. And now, and it's only been, like you said, I think 2 months, just, I don't have those temptations. I don't have those negative thoughts. I've turned the negative into a positive. If there's an opportunity to have something negative, if there's an opportunity to have an unplanned food, I look at that as a incentive to eat healthy and to eat the food that I've already planned and worked to prepare. Sundays I prep, so I have stuff already portioned out. It's all in the refrigerator. I just need to grab it for whatever meal or snack it is. And I feel good when I'm doing that. And I feel good. Like, everybody was going to get bagels this morning at the office, and somebody said, "Oh, Erika, don't forget to get your bagel." And I'm like, "I'm good, thanks." And then my coworker, who knows what I'm doing, said, "Yeah, she's real good. She doesn't need that bagel, or something."
She's real good.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm really,
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm not eating that bagel, and there's been a day or two, a weekend day or two, there was a party where I didn't track and I didn't plan and I didn't, I ate what I wanted to, and I didn't have that negative talk because I allowed myself those few hours, whatever the occasion or situation was, to do what I needed to do and to enjoy myself. And then I got right back on track for the next meal, and I was fine.
Yeah.
So there's no negative talk. There's no sabotaging. There's no sneaking food or, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. So let's talk about such situations, because that's my next question I've written down is like your father and aunt's party. Or I remember our very first coaching call, we talked a lot about restaurants
Hmm.
and how to navigate those. So I think a lot of people can be really scared going into a weight loss program, which I think one thing as well is, you know, everyone comes to you because they want to lose weight, but this isn't really a weight loss program. It's much more of, or actually, let me ask you, like, how would you characterize this program?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a weight loss program. It's a lifestyle. Um, and I know that's hokey, but it's definitely, I don't refer to you as my nutritionist or dietitian or whatever. I refer to you to people as my coach, and you're coaching me along, um, and giving me the advice, the suggestions, the whatever, to make how to make smart choices. And the first time I remember the first time I went to a grocery store after
I
starting the
remember.
program, I
Yeah.
was scared to death. I was like, I mean, the butterflies, the nausea, the whole thing, because there's so much temptation there. And it's a super Walmart that we do our grocery shopping. So they have everything. And I had my list, and I had like pre-planned the week ahead. So I knew what foods I was going to eat. So I knew what ingredients I needed, and I stuck to it. And I walked out of there feeling so good about that. And it just snowballed into, now it's not even a thought. I am not going to, and even if I go down those aisles that, the chips or whatever, I don't even, it's not a second thought. I just do it and grab whatever is on my list and go about, doing that. Restaurants, I look at the menus before I go. And I plan what I want, and I do not open the menu when I get to the restaurant. I know what I want. I know how I want it cooked, and I stick to it. I don't even have to look at a menu anymore because, when I'm physically there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, there's just so you have away between the weekly sessions, the modules, and just the I don't know, overall, just there's something about the way that you present things
Mm,
that makes me think I that's the way that's what I need to do. Like,
mm,
I was struggling getting my steps in, but I knew that I needed to work on that. And I said something to you about how I can't be I just can't get motivated to put my shoes on in the middle of the day and take a walk outside. So you suggested setting a timer for 10 minutes and
yeah.
walking around the house. So several times a day now, I set my timer for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just march in place, or sometimes I'll walk around the house. It just depends on, what I'm doing. A lot of times I just march in place because I still need to have my work, my laptop in front of me. So I'm paying attention to emails that come in, but it's not I don't and now I'm at the point where I don't like, "Oh my god, how much longer?" Oh my it's not that I just do it. And I'm like, the
Yeah.
alarm goes off. I was like, "Ooh, it's been 10 minutes." I did. And it's like 1,000 steps or 1,500 steps that I get in, and 10 minutes, that's it. Like, I could do that, but I never would have thought about it. And maybe someone else would have suggested it, and I would yeah, whatever. But you suggested it. I tried it. It's working. I'm doing it.
Yeah. There's a to be fair, there's a lot of I've done a lot of research into neuroscience and the science of habit building and
Yeah.
psychology in order to understand specifically how it relates to weight loss, in order to understand what works and what doesn't. And like, I'm never going to suggest go for an hour long walk
Right.
because
Right.
A, I don't want to do that,
Right.
but B, not sustainable. But you can do 10 minutes and that feels achievable, right?
Yeah.
Like you could do
Yeah.
anything for 10 minutes. Well,
And
maybe,
I do it
maybe, but
2 or 3 times, 4 times a day. I mean, yeah.
yeah. And it's like the first time we do something and we accomplish it, we get dopamine,
Mhm.
and serotonin. And then that makes us feel really good. And then we want to do it again.
Yeah.
And so then it creates this streak in our brain, which
Mhm.
is one reason why, like in trainer eyes, the habits work really well because you got your streak. And then you can see in the group chat, I think I saw earlier today you're on like a 50-day streak for, your vitamins or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that like all shows up. So beyond like, losing the 12 pounds that you lost, like what other non-scale victories have you experienced that you're most proud of?
Um, I'm down a pant size, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I another thing that you implemented with me was doing measurements.
Yes.
And I've done that a couple times, and it's even though the scale may not show um more than, a pound or whatever, my measurements are definitely down. Um I'm down a bra size. That's a new thing.
Oh,
Huge. Yes, I think I should say
yeah.
that on here, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah.
Um, and I mean, overall, the main thing is I'm feeling so much better about myself. Um, I don't worry. Oh no, what am I going to wear when I have to go into the office tomorrow? What am I going to find that fits me? Because what's already in my closet that either fit me and was tight or I wasn't comfortable in, I'm getting more and more comfortable in those clothes again.
Mm.
Um, so it's really just the overall mindset of the way I feel and the way I look at things in terms of eating and planning and prepping. I'm doing this for me, and nobody else can question it. You can question it all you want, but I don't care. This is what I need to do for myself, and I'm gonna finally do it and keep it and keep at it. Maintain it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And well, maybe this isn't obvious, but the program's not cheap, right?
No, it's
And
not.
yeah. And so how is your investment in this program compared to like other weight loss attempts or, in terms of the results and changes that you've experienced?
Halfway through, and the money I spend is well worth it. I
Awesome.
mean, I'm not questioning, oh my God, I can't believe I spent that money. I can't, because that's an investment in myself. And it is a lot of money. And I think you and I had talked about it at one point. You said, well, you're not going to spend a lot of money and not necessarily do the work. It's not, so it's definitely an incentive. Um, in the back of my head, even though that money's already gone and already, paid and whatever. Um, it's, it, the program is well worth it because you offer so much in the package that a lot of times you can't give a dollar sign to that. Does it, does that make sense? I don't
Yeah. And what would you say to someone who's maybe never invested in themselves or um, maybe is scared of investing in themselves?
know. Um, think about all of the ice cream that you're spending, all the money you're spending on ice cream and cookies and foods that are not getting you where you need to go, or the larger size clothes because you're now out of one size and into another. You need to buy a whole new wardrobe because you need larger clothes. Like all of that money is pretty much what this costs. And probably you're spending more if depending on the quantity of and the level. But, you know, I mean, with groceries and everything these days, things are so expensive. And I'm still shopping for my husband who is eating unhealthy and doing his thing, but I see the prices and I know that probably in the last 2 months, I've spent what I spent for you, I spent on him for his food and larger size clothing and all of that.
Mm.
So, it's worth it. It's not, it's a large number. It's scary. There's no question.
Yeah.
Um, but it's so worth it. It's just so worth it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then you're only halfway through and we haven't
I,
even gotten to like the food freedom stuff and
yeah.
you're experiencing that. So looking ahead to the second half of the program where we're focused on the food freedom, the long-term success plan, like what are you most looking forward to working on together?
Um, I'm looking forward to being able to phase out of working with you on a regular basis and
Yeah.
doing it on my own.
Yeah.
Um, because I know I can do it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of keeping this mindset without the hand holding.
Yes.
So,
Confidence.
yeah, confidence. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Love that. Awesome. Anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to say?
I, I, I'm so thankful that I found you.
Thank you.
I really am. I praise you. I talk about you all the time to like people.
Oh,
And there's only a small group of people that know that I'm really doing something. I mean,
yeah.
you know, um, working with someone, I should say. People know I'm watching what I'm eating and watching what I'm doing, but working with someone. And I just, it's, I obviously, because I haven't, I couldn't have done it without you because before it didn't happen. And like I said, you just have a way of wording things and presenting things and having the materials readily available and right there for us. And um, it's all just it's a wonderful thing. So thank
Well,
you.
well, thank you. And I want to thank you for being so open and sharing your journey today. Like what you've accomplished in just 8 weeks is truly inspiring and typically takes people like the entire program, which is one reason
Mm,
is the big reason why I wanted to hop on, and do this interview now.
thank you.
Because I can't wait to see where you are at the end of the program too. And when
Yeah.
you think about where you started, feeling out of control with food and struggling with the negative self-talk and avoiding activities because of how you felt in your body compared to where you are now, like the transformation is really remarkable. And I think your story highlights something that I believe so deeply, which is that sustainable change really happens when we address both the practical aspects of nutrition and the deeper mindset issues that really drive our behaviors. And you've embraced all of this work with such commit. I think that's been a really important part of this is like you've been praising me, which obviously I greatly appreciate, but you've been extremely committed throughout this whole thing.
I have.
Like,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
done the work, like, you've had a really strong reason for why, and you've been consistent.
Mhm.
Like, you've been consistent, and, like, we haven't really gotten to the all or nothing thinking as well, which is something we can touch on, another time maybe. But, I just can't wait to see what the next phase of the program brings you because you've built such an incredible foundation. I know you're just gonna keep flourishing. So, thanks so much again for sharing your story with us today.